Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and this is my first impressions look on the Nike Kyrie 8. So of course, the last Kyrie model is the Kyrie Infinity and not the Kyrie 8. I don't know what was going on with that in the naming scheme. But also this is the shoe that Kyrie's kind of been wearing, but he's also been wearing the Kyrie 1s, which is pretty cool. And he's been wearing a lot of his older shoes as well, like the 2 and the 3. But yeah, this is called the Kyrie 8 and it retails for 140 bucks. Huge shout out to Jay Lopez. I appreciate you. Thank you for the pickup. You know, he actually got me this shoe and sent it to me. It's actually not available online at all, or like on Nike, on Foot Locker. But if you go to the store like Foot Locker and I believe like Champs or Finish Line, actually had a couple of pairs of the Kyrie 8. So if you guys do want to cop, probably just go to the stores, right? In store. I actually haven't been able to find the pair online besides, I guess, on like on GOAT or StockX. But anyways, let's get it started off with the Tracciones. And here in this shoe, we have the forefoot actually kind of reminds me of Smear Traction from the Zoom GT Cut 2.0. It's very deep as far as the grooves go and it protrudes out a lot. And it's a very aggressive pattern. You know, it kind of looks like eyeballs and it reminds me a little bit of like the Kyrie 2 or even like the Kyrie 3 pods, if you guys remember those. But there's 4 of them here in the forefoot and it's also a different color, right? And then here in the middle of the outsole, we have like Kyrie Irving's logo and the world, a globe, which is, I thought Kyrie didn't believe the world was round. He thought it was flat. Either way, it's exposed foam right here, right? It's actually quite soft. And then here in the heel we have a Nike swoosh and it looks like a React foam pattern, right? That's what I first thought. And then here in the heel, as far as the rubber outsole pattern goes, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like a bike tire pattern, especially since it's a black rubber outsole, right? So how does the traction feel on my wood floors? It feels pretty good. You know, there actually is a nice stop, but there's absolutely zero squeak. So the Zoom GT Cut 2.0 has a nice little squeak, not super loud and not super high pitched, but there was a little bit of squeak there, right? The Kyrie 8, there's zero squeak, which sucks because I like to have squeak in my shoes, you know what I mean? So hopefully it starts to squeak a little bit more once I break it in and once I play in it. But right now, there's not that much squeak. And as always, squeak has nothing to do with performance, but I like to have a little bit of squeak, and I feel like a lot of you guys do as well. And as far as the durability goes, I feel like it'll be okay. You know, the grooves are actually super deep, but they're also kind of thin, right? So I feel like it'll rip off pretty damn easily, especially here in the forefoot if you're playing on outdoor court. Just, of course, take that with a grain of salt. That's just what I'm speculating, right? And also, as far as the outsole curvature, there actually is a little bit of outsole curvature, right? So on the medial side, like right here, it curves just a tiny bit, which feels nice. And also there is rubber coming up so that you have a little bit more grip when you're doing these types of movements. But also there is a little bit of a curve here on the lateral side, which is kind of weird. So I'm a little bit worried about lateral instability, but we'll get to that. So the overall traction, it seems pretty good, you know, as far as the overall stop goes. So I'm not too worried about that. And now moving on to the heel to toe transition, overall it feels pretty nice, right? So here in the heel, we have a nice curve shape and pretty much fully exposed foam. And it's actually pretty soft. This foam feels nice, you know, there's a good amount of compression. So here in the heel feels nice so far, and then here in the forefoot we have a pretty curved shape and also a good amount of forefoot flex. Look at that. You know, I'm not actually like putting that much force. It's actually quite flexible, which is weird. You know, Kyries are usually very stiff, especially the models with the Zoom Turbo, because Zoom Turbo, the way they made it was actually very stiff in the forefoot. Like for example, here in the Kyrie 7, right? The Kyrie 7 had the Zoom Turbo, very stiff here in the forefoot, right? So it actually feels pretty nice here in the Kyrie 8. Just in my personal opinion, I like to have a little bit more flex in the forefoot, and this rounded and curved shape, like this rocking motion, feels very nice and smooth so far. So heel to toe transition feels very nice. And now moving on to the cushioning setup, overall it feels nice, right? So I'm actually not sure what the foam is. You know, there's not a whole lot of information on the tech specs for the Kyrie 8, and it also doesn't say anywhere on the shoe that it's React. So I'm not 100% sure, but like just to the touch, there's actually good compression. It feels nice. It's soft, like I mentioned before. So here in the heel, there's nice compression, and then here in the forefoot we have Zoom Strobo. trouble. So just like in the Kyrie Infinity, you can see it, if you remove the insole, and you can definitely feel the zoom trouble right underneath your foot in the forefoot. It has a good amount of compression, has a lot of bounce, which I like. Gets a little crazy sometimes, but overall it feels nice. And if you like zoom trouble, you'll definitely like it here in the Kyrie 8. But the step-in comfort in the heel sucks. The strobel board is actually quite stiff here in the heel. So even when the foam is soft here, the heel is actually kind of stiff for underfoot cushion. And also the insole is quite thin. And that's not a huge deal because I guess, it makes it easier to feel the Zoom Turbo unit here in the forefoot, but in the heel, not so nice. The court feel actually feels pretty damn nice and very similar to the Kyrie Infinity. So overall, the cushion feels nice. It's just I wish the step-in comfort was a little bit better in the heel. So moving on to the material, so that is a little bit of a letdown, especially for a $140 shoe. So this material, it's like a synthetic or plastic type of material. And overall, it's actually kind of thin, but it's a little like stiff, it feels a little glued down. So a little cumbersome here in the forefoot. It doesn't feel terrible, it doesn't pinch my foot at all. So on foot, it's not bad, and also it feels overall very supportive as well. There's zero stretch to the material, but it's just a really cheap material. Like, just listen, and then just... yeah, it's not that nice for quality, right? So I wish they would have used better quality materials, but honestly on foot, especially here in the forefoot, it's not that bad. And then moving on to the tongue, we actually have a good amount of padding. It's not as padded as like the Kyrie 6 or the Kyrie Infinity, but we have a little bit more than average, I would say. So it feels nice and cozy and comfortable on top of your foot. And also we have this plastic, which is kind of like the Air Max tongue, which was in like the LeBron 18, I believe, but a little bit bigger, but it's not like that crazy. It's not filled with that much air or anything, but that's what it kind of reminds me of. It's also a half booty construction tongue, which gives you an overall better one-to-one fit. And also another thing that I like for extra lockdown is these little straps, right? So we did see the dismantling of the Kyrie 8. And these straps kind of go through the material and go underneath the tongue and then go across the shoe right here. And of course the laces go through it, right? So once you tighten the laces, it kind of tightens this strap over your foot, here in the midfoot. So that actually feels pretty damn nice. And then as far as the ankle area goes, it's not super padded, like the Kyrie 6 or the Kyrie Infinity, but just like the tongue, it has a little bit more than average padding, which feels nice and cozy here in the back of the shoe. So overall, it feels nice on foot. Like, it's thin, it conforms to your foot like somewhat well, and I feel like it'll break in pretty nicely, and it feels supportive, right? It's just the quality feels very cheap, right? So I'm not that mad at the materials because it feels pretty nice on foot. And also there is a nice addition of like these flywire cables, kind of. And if you look at the last two eyelets right here, the laces only go through these cables, right? And the cables are quite thick, so I don't think there's going to be any issues with it breaking, but in the past there has been issues with that. If you tighten your laces super tight, it can snap. So hopefully there's not any durability issues with that. And now moving on to the fit, I actually went up half a size, and it fits me pretty damn well, right? So length, there is a little bit of length. It's a really snug fit, especially here in the toe box. I can barely curl my toes up, like every other Kyrie, like the Kyrie 7 and the Kyrie Infinity. I would actually say it's a little bit more snug here in the toe box than the Kyrie Infinity. And also look at how freaking narrow it is, especially here at the tip of the toe. Look at how it's very tippy, right? So it's a very narrow fit as well. So if you have like a normal size foot and you want a little bit more relaxed fit, then go up half a size, but if you don't mind a really snug fit, then you should be fine going true to size. If you have a wide foot or you want a really roomy fit, probably go up a full size, right? But overall fit for me was pretty damn good, even though I did go up half a size. And now moving on to the support and lockdown. I mean, it's a Kyrie. Kyries are known for very good lateral containment, and it's Kyrie. He's doing crazy crossovers, crazy cuts, crazy Euro steps and stuff like that, so he needs really good support, right? So here in the forefoot, we have the rubber outsole coming up, acting as a sidewall, and we actually have this material as well. So this material with this pattern on it is actually a little bit stiffer than this material on top of the toe box. So that's actually good. It's a little bit more rigid, and also here in the midfoot and here in the heel we have this swoosh, right? So that definitely does act as a little bit of a counter as well. And there is an internal TPU heel counter, it feels like. So lateral containment, I have no doubts about the Kyrie 8. It's probably going to be very good. Also for lateral stability, it feels like it's going to be very good. You know, look at how much this outsole and midsole protrudes out here on the lateral side in the forefoot. Look at that. It's nothing crazy as far as like a sharp outrigger goes for the outsole, but this does protrude out a good amount. So you have a very wide and low base here in the forefoot. So lateral stability seems like it's going to be good. And this is more like a mid top. It doesn't seem like it's restricting my ankle movement that much. So yeah, it just feels pretty much like a low, but this material kind of goes over your ankle bone a little bit. So there's that. As far as the weight goes, I actually feel like it's going to be maybe a little bit lighter than average, so maybe 11-12 ounces. 12.13 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 12.03 ounces. So to compare to the Kyrie 7, I believe it was still pretty light, right? Yeah, 12.13 ounces, so pretty much the exact same weight as the Kyrie 7. And yeah, it feels pretty damn light on foot, and it feels pretty minimal as well, especially here in the midfoot and forefoot. It gets a little bit cozier here in the back of the shoe, but nothing too crazy. It doesn't feel bulky or anything. It's just like a nice average for me personally. So overall, it feels really nice on foot, and I feel like it's gonna be responsive. So I do like the overall feeling of the shoe on foot. And now moving on to the aesthetics, it's okay. You know, I definitely feel like, you know, I really like the Kyrie 7. The Kyrie 8 looks a little bit to me, you know, especially here on the medial side. Like, what is this? This looks kind of weird, you know what I mean? I guess I do like the oversized swoosh though, but it kind of looks like a budget shoe to me, you know what I mean? So anyways, tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, my first impressions of the Kyrie are good. You know, I like how it feels overall so far on foot. And I like the cushiony setup. The traction seems good as well. Materials feel thin, supportive. It fits me pretty damn well. It's just, you know, the materials are a little bit on the cheaper side of things, but not a huge deal for performance in my personal opinion. So yeah, it's feeling good so far. And could this be Kyrie's last shoe with Nike? Probably. You know, I don't think Kyrie Irving likes Nike all too much, and I don't think Nike likes Kyrie. So it'll probably end here, which sucks because Kyrie's line is legendary. And I feel like everyone, like if you're a hooper, you've had a Kyrie, you know what I mean? And I know a lot of people that enjoy playing Kyrie, so that definitely does suck. I am excited to see who will sign him next, you know what I mean? Maybe a Chinese brand, maybe Adidas, I don't know. But anyways, that about wraps it up for my first impressions of the Kyrie 8. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.